Did we call everything except for the microphone? We called them. Okay. Can you just introduce yourself? Okay, you can call the case.
David March, Joseph Walsh, Thomas Gaffney.
Okay, I see all three defendants. You can be seated. On bond, present in court. Can all of the parties please put their names on the record?
Good morning, Your Honor. Michelle Brown Holmes, Special Prosecutor, along with Ron Safer, S-A-F-E-R, Brian Watson, W-A-T-S-O-N, Kelly Warner, W-A-R-N-E-R, and Aaron Gasparka, E-R-I-N-G-A-S-T-A-R-K-A. Ready to try.
Morning, Judge James McVeigh, on behalf of David March.
Judge Todd Pugh and Tom Green, Rob Stanley on behalf of Joe Walsh.
Good morning, Judge. My name is Will Baden.
Thank you. Good morning, everyone. So we left off yesterday in the state's case. Are we ready to start? Are there any issues that we need to address before we start the trial? Mr. Topic?
I understand that the subpoena to Mr. Calvin has been withdrawn.
We need to talk about that.
Thanks, Judge.
I'm sorry, one second. Can you put your name on the record, please?
Topic T-O-P-I-C.
Thank you. Thank you.
Your Honor, this morning I actually met with Mr. Topic and I followed up with a text message and I advised him that I am withdrawing my subpoena to Mr. Calvin. Even if, one of the Torres or both of the Torres testified. And further, I would have no objection to Mr. Calvin being present in the courtroom because I am withdrawing this.
Okay, so he wouldn't fall under the motion to exclude then?
Yes.
Okay, so your subpoena is withdrawn. He's no longer a potential witness, so he can be present for the trial. In addition, I asked the court reporter not to tender the transcript from yesterday until I could give you admonishments not to give the transcript to Mr. Calvin, but since that's no longer an issue, that's a moot point, so you can get the transcript.
Very good.
Okay, any other issues before we start back with the trial? State?
For me.
Defense? Okay, great. We left off yesterday in the state's case. State, call your next witness.
Yes, Judge, we would call Sergeant. Oh, we have stipulations, Judge.
Okay. Can you just put your name on the record again?
Morning,
Thank
Your
you.
Honor. Brian Watson for the state. The people of the state of Illinois, Thomas Gaffney and David March, have reached several stipulations. Thank you, sir.
You may proceed.
With the court's permission, may I approach?
Yes, sir. Thank you. Do you have a copy for the court reporter? And if not, you can provide one at some point today.
Copy to the court.
Thank you.
A number of the exhibits identified on the stipulation were admitted yesterday. With the court's permission, may I identify the exhibits the state now offers by stipulation rather than read the entire 3 sets of exhibits of stipulations that have been marked, filed, and signed?
Yes, and what I'm going to do then is if you can just identify them, read the portions that you want, but I'm going to direct the court reporter when she gets her copy to incorporate them into the record in their entirety.
The state offers People's Exhibit CPD TR1, Chicago Police Department Tactical Response Report, CPD-11377, Rev 10 October 2007 by stipulation. The state offers People's Exhibit CPD OBR 1, Chicago Police Department Officers Battery Report, CPD 11.451, Rev. January 2004, into evidence by stipulation. The state offers People's Exhibit 813R dash cam 1, Chicago Police Department dash cam recording HX 475653 813R PC 0Z400 October 20, 2014 into evidence by stipulation. The state offers People's Exhibit 845R dash cam 1, which is the Police Chicago Department dash cam recording HX 475653 845R PC 0S571 October 20th, 2014 into evidence by stipulation. The state offers People's Exhibit 823R dash cam 1, Chicago Police Department dash cam recording HX 475653 823R PC 02846 October 20th, 2014 in evidence by stipulation. The state offers People's Exhibit March Training 1, Chicago Police Department Employee Training Record for David March into evidence by stipulation. The state offers People's Exhibit Walsh Training 1, Chicago Police Department Employee Training Record for Joseph Walsh in evidence, into evidence by stipulation. The state offers People's Exhibit Gaffney Training 1, which is Chicago Police Department Employee Training Record for Thomas Gaffney into evidence by stipulation. The state offers People's Exhibit CPD Order 1, Chicago Police Department General Order G030201, the use of force model effective 16 May 2012 to 16 October 2017 into evidence by stipulation. The state offers People's Exhibit CPD Order 2, Chicago Police Department General Order G0302, use of force guidelines effective 01 October 2002 to 16 October 2017 in evidence by stipulation. The state offers Exhibit CPD Order 3, Chicago Police Department General Order G0301, Communication Systems and Devices effective 30 May 2014 into evidence by stipulation. The state offers People's Exhibit CPD Order 4, Chicago Police Department Special Order S030201, firearm discharge in instance other than the destruction of animals, effective 01 October 2002 to 30 October 2014 into evidence by stipulation. The state offers People's Exhibit CPD Order 5, Chicago Police Department General Order G030205, incidents requiring the completion of a tactical response report, effective 1 October 2002 to 30 October 2014 into evidence by stipulation. The state offers People's Exhibit CPD Order 6, Chicago Police Department Special Order S030203, incidents requiring the completion of a tactical response report, effective 01 October 2002 to 30 October 2014 into evidence by stipulation. The state offers People's Exhibit CPD Order 7, Chicago Police Department Special Order S030204, clear automated tactical response report, effective 13 April 2004 to 30 October 2014 into evidence by stipulation. The state offers People's Exhibit CPD Order 8, Chicago Police Department General Order 01 for preliminary investigations effective 08 September 2004 to 13 October 2015 into evidence by stipulation. The state offers People's Exhibit CPD Order 9, Chicago Police Department Special Order S0402, Crime Scene Protection and Processing, effective 15 June 2002 to 06 November 2014 into evidence by stipulation. The state offers People's Exhibit CPD Order 10, Chicago Police Department Special Order S041301, Officers Battery Reporting Procedures, effective 28 December 2012 to 30 October 2014 into evidence by stipulation. The state offers People's Exhibit CPD Order 12, Chicago Police Department General Order G0901, access to computerized data, dissemination and retention of computer data, effective 03 February 2012 to present. In addition, Your Honor, it is not identified on the written stipulation, but counsel for the defense and the state have conferred. The state also offers People's Exhibit CPD Order 13, Chicago Police Department General Order G030202, Force Options, effective 16 May 2012 to 16 October 2017 into evidence by stipulation. Leaving from the Chicago Police Department stipulations to a separate set of stipulations in paragraph 2, the state offers People's Exhibit City Code 1, Municipal Code of Chicago, Chapter 2-84, Department of Police into evidence by stipulation. And in that People's Exhibit City Code 1, we direct the court's attention to Section 2-84-030, Police Board Powers and Duties, which states the board shall exercise the following powers. 2, to adopt rules and regulations for the governance of the police department of the city. And Section 284-220, General Duties, which states the members of the police force of the city, when on duty, shall devote their time and attention to the discharge of the duties of their stations according to the laws of the state and ordinance of the city and rules and regulations of the department to preserve order, peace, and quiet, and enforce the laws and ordinance throughout the city. The state also offers People's Exhibit GCFD, Video 1, surveillance video from the Greater Chicago Food Depository near 4100 block of West 40th Street, Chicago, Illinois, on October 20th, 2014, into evidence by stipulation. The state offers People's Exhibit GCFD, Video 2, surveillance video from the Greater Chicago Food Depository near 4100 block of West 40th Street, Chicago, Illinois, on October 20th, 2014, into evidence by stipulation. The state offers People's Exhibit Split Video 1, compilation video of People's Exhibit 813R Dashcam 1, and People's Exhibit 845R Dashcam 1 into evidence by stipulation. The state offers People's Exhibit Radio 1, audio recording of the Zone 6 radio channel for Chicago Police Department District Patrol use on October 20th, 2014, into evidence by stipulation. The state offers People's Exhibit Radio Transcript 1, a true and accurate partial transcript of People's Exhibit Radio 1 into evidence by stipulation. And for the court's attention, People's Exhibit Radio Transcript 1, the line numbers on the left column are designations for the line and not the time stamps for the recording.
Sorry, so the line numbers on the left are for the line?
And not time stamp.
Thank you. And that was for the radio 1 or the radio transcript?
Radio Transcript 1, Your Honor.
Thank you.
The state offers People's Exhibit Gaffney Grand Jury 1, a certified transcript of the testimony of Thomas Gaffney in grand jury investigation, grand jury number 14 GJ 970, July 1, 2015, 1:30 p.m. into evidence by stipulation and, as discussed before, offered against Thomas Gaffney alone.
That is correct, Judge. It is approved.
Thank you. I went ahead and wrote it on your stipulation as well.
Those are the exhibits the state now offers into evidence by stipulation.
So stipulating Mr. McKay?
Yes, Your Honor.
So stipulating Mr. Pugh or Mr. Green?
Yes, Your Honor.
And so stipulating Mr. Fahey?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right, those stipulations are received and
Thank you, Your Honor.
are you asking that those items obviously be entered into evidence as well?
We are asking those be entered into evidence at this time as well.
Okay, and any objection to that, Mr. McKay?
No.
Mr. Pugh or Mr. Green?
No, Your Honor.
Mr. Fahey?
No, Your Honor.
All of those exhibits that are listed in your written stipulation, the identification marks are stricken and they are admitted.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Okay. Call your next witness.
Your Honor, the state would call Sergeant Skelly.
Do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes, I have.
With the court's permission, may I provide the witness with a notebook full of exhibits for his examination?
Yes. Because yesterday the defense said if they had an objection to that, they would let me know.
The defense has been provided with the same.
Okay, you may proceed.
Thank you, Your Honor. Would you state your name and spell your name for the record, please?
Sergeant Larry Snelling. Last name is Snelling. Star number 919.
How are you employed?
I'm employed by the Chicago Police Department.
And what is your rank?
Rank of sergeant.
How long have you worked with the Chicago Police Department?
I'm 1 month shy of about 27 years.
When could you go through for the court your background with the Chicago Police Department?
I joined the Chicago Police Department 2 January 1992. From the academy, I was assigned to the 2nd District, the Wentworth District. I spent a year there. From there, I was transferred to the 7th District, Englewood. 1994, I worked the gang and tactical unit till about 1999. 99, I took a brief leave of absence from the job. I took a job with Telecommunications Incorporated, where I did dignitary protection and industrial security. 2001, I returned. At the end of 2001, I was detailed to the academy and eventually assigned to the physical skills unit.
What is the physical skills unit?
The physical skills unit is a unit within our education and training division, where I was responsible for training control tactics, defensive tactics, physical fitness, use of force guidelines, things of that nature.
And you taught that at the academy?
Yes.
Is use of force both talk to recruits and also talk to officers who have been with the force for some time.
Yes.
Could you just continue describing your background at the Chicago Police Force?
So I was assigned to the academy at that time from, actually I was assigned in 2002 until 2010 when I was promoted. 2010, I was then assigned to the 22nd District. I spent a brief period of time out there. I was then called upon and asked to lead up the training for the NATO event. So myself and several other sergeants and lieutenants were responsible for the field force operations team, and I was also responsible for the strike teams that were out on 22nd Street.
What was the NATO event and what were the field force operations?
Well, the field force operations team was a disciplined group of officers to deal with crowd control. So that's what we were doing. We were preparing for civil unrest in the city.
And what was the strike force that you led?
Well, the strike team. The strike team was a field force platoon that we were the first team to go in on 22nd Street when we were faced with the civil unrest.
And after the NATO event, what did you do?
After the NATO event, the department did mass hiring. I was asked to return to the academy and be the supervising sergeant over recruit training.
And in overall training, is that right?
Yes.
And did that include use of force?
Yes, it did.
What type of training is there regarding use of force, both for recruits and for experienced officers?
Well, for recruits, it's ground level training. So there's classroom training. There's also training that use of force training that's infused into their day-to-day activities as they go throughout their 6-month training period. For officers in the field, usually it's e-learning or maybe some in-service training.
And does that training include training in report writing involving the use of force?
Yes.
What forms are used in the Chicago Police Department that involve the use of force by an officer?
Well, on the ground level training for recruits, case reporting, number one, improper documentation of use of force through case reporting, and then the tactical response report. And the tactical response report helps the officer document the subject's actions and the officer's response.
And you have both given and received training regarding those reports.
Yes, that's correct.
Sergeant, the first area I'd like to explore with you is the process of documenting incidents where a police officer uses force. You just described some of those reports. How are you familiar with the process of documenting incidents where a police officer uses force?
Well, one, teaching, and two, I've actually approved tactical response reports myself.
And are there general orders that describe who should complete tactical response reports and how they should complete them when a police officer uses force?
Yes.
Showing you what has been admitted into evidence as CPD Order 5, and which is behind tab 1 on your book. Are you familiar with People's Exhibit CPD Order 5?
Yes, I am.
What is that?
That's the department's general order on incidents requiring the completion of a tactical response report.
What is the purpose of the tactical response report?
The purpose of the tactical response report is to accurately document the officer's response to a subject's action.
And whose observation does an officer use in completing a tactical response report?
Well, the involved member, that would be the officer who uses force.
And do those officers use the observation of other people on the scene, or is it limited to their own observations?
Well, when the officer completes the tactical response report, the officer should be documenting what he observed and how he or she responded to that officer's action.
Is there any ambiguity about that?
No.
Now, is in addition to the officers who use force, if an officer is battered or assaulted, should they complete a tactical response report?
Yes.
Why?
Well, if an officer is battered or assaulted, then eventually that officer will have to do the OBR, which is the officer battery report. And in order to get to the officer battery report, you have to complete the tactical response report. The tactical response report will also give the officer the opportunity to explain the subject's action.
If we could turn to tab 2 in your book, which is People's Exhibit CPD TRR1, which has been admitted into evidence. What is that?
That's an actual copy of the original tactical response report.
And that is the tactical response report that was in effect back in 2014.
That's correct.
Now, what are the categories on the, well, first, let's focus on the far left, where it says on the far left-hand side of the form, where it says reason for use of force. Do you see that?
Yes.
And focusing on subject's action. Who is the subject?
Well, the subject is the person that the officer comes in contact with, the person to be arrested or the person that the officer used force to control.
And what are the categories on form People Exhibit CPD TRR1 for a subject's action?
Well, starting from the lowest level to the highest, from left to right, you have a passive resistor, an active resistor, an assailant based on an assault. You have an assailant based on a battery, physical contact, and you have the assailant deadly force.
Now, are those terms also used in use of force general orders?
Yes.
If we look at tab 3, behind which is People's Exhibit CPD Order 2, which has been admitted into evidence, what is that?
That's our general order on the use of force guidelines.
Now, it starts under Roman numeral 2 with a recitation of the relevant statute. Is that right?
That's correct.
And then it goes on to the department's policy.
Yes, it does.
And without going into all of it, is the policy essentially captured by the concept under C, 3C, where the general order recites the Supreme Court's holding in Graham versus Connor, that the central inquiry in every use of force is whether the amount of force used by the officer was objectively reasonable in light of the particular circumstances faced by that officer.
That's correct.
Now, does the department provide guidance to the officers about what use of force is reasonable given the subject's conduct?
Yes.
Looking behind page 4, tab 4, which is People's Exhibit CPD Order 1, what is, and that has been admitted into evidence. What is that?
That's the department's general order on the use of force model.
Looking at the second page, can you describe what that is for the court?
Yes, that is the department's use of force model. It's kind of a quick reference guide for officers to determine the subject's actions and an officer's effective response.
And before we go through them, the terms resistor, assailant, cooperative subject, that's also in the TRR as well. Is that right?
That's correct.
Could you explain the different kinds of conduct and, well, let me ask you, according to the general orders, do these categories have any relation to the concept of reasonable force?
Yes.
And could you explain that?
So basically, if you look at the model, your top left side, this describes the subject that the officer would come in contact with. And the officer can categorize them based on each title that you see there to the left. So this would be based on the subject's action. So at the lowest level, you have a cooperative subject, 2 levels of cooperative subject. You have a subject when the police arrive, they automatically comply just based on the officer's presence. The next level is that subject who needs an officer to give verbal direction, and he's compliant with that verbal direction. So basically, in those 2 situations, the only thing the officer needs is the officer's presence and verbal direction, and that can be used in conjunction with an arrest for a cooperative subject. If you look up to the next one, we have a resistor. And that resistor, there are 2 levels, passive resistance. This is usually someone you would see at a protest or something of that nature, passive resistance, non-movement in response to verbal direction. They're not moving, they're not trying to escape, they're just not listening or complying with the officer's verbal direction. Now, if you look at the bottom right, you'll see that everything on the bottom is color-coded just like everything is to the top left. Everything that you see at the bottom right would be the appropriate or the reasonable officer's response to the actions of the subject that they've identified. So if you see the passive resistant, if you look at holding, pain compliance techniques, neuromuscular techniques, OC spray in very limited situations, the officer would be, those would be reasonable responses to that subject's action. Now, if you look up one higher, you have an active resistor, all right, that would be movement to avoid physical control. This is a situation where an officer is attempting to take someone into custody or to stop that subject to take them into custody, and the subject uses flight, moves away, pulls away, flails the arms, or even muscle tension to defeat the arrest. Hiding is another form of active resistance. For active resistance, if you look at the color coding, stunning, diffuse pressure strikes, which is an open hand or palm strike, that can be used to discombobulate the subject, throw them off balance, so that the officer can establish control. Also, OC spray or even a taser in some situations where we have active resistance. Now, if you go up a level, you're in the assailant category. At the lowest level, actions are offensively aggressive without weapons. Now, this person is an assailant. They're not actually striking the officer or attempting to strike the officer. They're displaying body language that the officer recognizes as pre-attack indicators. So someone who's clenching the fist, moving toward the officer, inching toward the officer, not listening to verbal direction as he's moving toward the officer, bladed stance, a fighting posture, leading the officer to believe that an attack against him is imminent. And then we have actions will likely cause physical injury. So now we have a person who's actually attacking the officer, someone who's attempting to tackle him, punch the officer, kick the officer. And both of these are people without weapons. So if you look at the appropriate response there or the reasonable response to mechanical strikes. So we're talking about impact weapons, impact munitions, which would be over time. Obviously, punches, kicks, knee strikes, elbow strikes, things that are taught in the academy. The taser, OC spray, those are all effective uses of force. Now, when you get up to the highest level, actions are likely to cause death or great bodily harm. This is an assailant deadly force. The officer's response there is the officer's firearm and other means of deadly force in response to that subject's action.
And can you describe what the subject's actions are in that area? So
the subject who's armed with a deadly weapon or utilizing deadly techniques. So it could be a subject who's armed with a handgun, a knife, or a blunt object, and is attacking the officer or attempting to attack the officer. Or deadly techniques where someone attempts to put a choke